Hi, sir.
Hello, Shweta. How are you?
How are you, sir?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Uh, I read your book recently. Should we wait for a few minutes or should we start?
As you say,
Yes, sir. So, I read your book and I absolutely loved it because
thank you, Shweta.
before picking up a before picking up a book, I never read the genre or genre or something. Never went through whatever it was written at the back of the book, so I didn't know what it is about. But the title suggested it is a romantic book, so I was reading it in that way. But that plot twist in between, like two-thirds of the story, was such an amazing thing to read. And okay, someone is
That
saying we
was
should read. Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah.
that was the whole idea behind the cover and the blurb, no, to make people read about it more, to make people curious about, what's going to be next, so that they can reach to the very point where the lesson is written of this story.
Yes, sir. And uh, also the strategical point where you have put the like what is the story behind the title at the last in the last chapter. That is also very gripping because when we pick up the book, we are searching for what is the reason behind this title, and we don't get it in your book until the last chapter. So I would like to praise even that.
Thank you. It was, it was the main idea behind it, designing the cover.
Somebody is asking name of the books. So the name of the book is Sunset by the River, and
I
he
have
is
the
the author
copy.
right
You
now.
can. I
Yes,
bookmarked it
I have to
because,
get a copy. Yeah.
yeah, that's Sunset by the River. It's available on
It
Amazon
is
and Flipkart.
available. Yes, sir. So, so the first question which arises after finishing the book is, as a UPSC aspirant, did Tripti pursue her dream of becoming an IAS?
Yeah.
She did. And then, like, Ayan was working in Japan. So how did they manage? Did he come back, or what is the storyline aftermath of that sunset?
Okay. You are asking what happens after the story.
Yes.
It's it's actually, I haven't really thought about it yet. But what I had in mind when I was writing this, finishing the story, when I finished that last para, you can say, I didn't know that if I had completed the story or not. I was confused that oh, should I let the characters a little bit more, let the create the scenes, what happens next. I was thinking about it. I was not sure if I have completed it or not. When you write a story, you are not really sure when it's completed, because you keep adding the elements. So as far as the life of Tripti is concerned, yeah, she was pursuing. She had a dream to pursue UPSC. She had a dream to become an IAS officer, and probably she might have, because I haven't written about it and I haven't thought about it after writing this. The whole idea was to give the lesson which you have learned, and the UPSC element came in because there was a scene where an IAS officer has to intervene to save someone. You have read it, so you can relate it. So I had to add the element of UPSC in it, so that the readers who are not aware about the powers and you can say about the responsibilities of an IAS officer, they may they may relate to it at the starting of the story, so that it doesn't come as a surprise element. So that was whole idea about it. And she was still struggling with something. No, she haven't hasn't not fully recovered, so maybe she can complete her UPSC preparations.
So, what was the core idea behind this book? Like, what you exactly wanted the readers to find out, other than the issue you have put in the book?
Actually, the main idea was that only, the main issue. That was the trigger point to start my story. Uh, I was not, that prepared to start the writing phase. I completed my engineering in 2013. Then I, worked in a corporate sector for around 6 to 8 months. After that, I had also an idea to prepare for UPSC engineering services. I started it. I bought the book. I have books, lying right here. I don't give away my books that easily, whether it is academic book or a fiction book. I have UPSC books lying around. I started preparing it. Uh, all the best to you, but I couldn't,
Thank you.
completed my preparations. So I switched to the banking sectors after that. To get a banking job, I completed it around 2016. I got selected in bank. I had this idea since I completed my engineering, because something that has happened back then with a person, not related to me, but someone, someone related to someone I know. So I had this idea to write something about it. First, I started from the scratch to write about only that issue, without any fiction, without any romance part. I started writing about the issue only. And then, as the time passed, I joined the bank. And then I thought, why not, complete it as a full-fledged novel if I have this idea. And people used to say, you write well, you can do well, you start something. So that's how it started. It was not any knack of writing a novel. It was a core thing that touched me to write the issue behind it.
That was a very great decision that we have the book right now. You
Thank you.
took it to convert into that. So many people have joined. So would you like to talk about your book in brief?
Yeah. Okay. I think I have narrated how it started. So, Sunset by the River, it's my debut novel. It's a story of Ayan, Tripti, and Monisha. Ayan is, having a corporate job in Japan when he gets a call that scratches a hidden wound inside him. He goes into a state of, you can say, trance to, what happened back then, from with his past, with someone he loves very deeply. Something has happened. So that's when he has to go back to India, took a pause from his job to find what has happened with the person he loves so much. And that's when the element of surprise, you can say, element of issue, which is very important to be discussed in this society, which is very important to, talk about everywhere. That's when it opens up, and you will know when you read the complete story. And the story behind the cover is very interesting. The cover and the title both. When I started writing Sunset by the River, it was not Sunset by the River. It was just a story of Ayan, Tripti, and Monisha. I wrote, more than 80-90% of the novel without a title, without a idea of cover in my mind. So then I was writing this scene when, Ayan and Tripti are sitting together. They are experiencing something from their past. They are thinking about all the emotions they have experienced, be it, love, hate, not hate, heartbreaks and misery they have gone through. So that's when this idea, struck me that, okay, this scene that I have depicted right now, it may be, the title of the book, because it has all the elements of the characters in it.
So how far do you relate to your characters? Like Ayan is an friendly extrovert kind, Tripti is on the other part introvert, and Manisha is different, like friendly, so friendly that she made Ayan her friend in the first meeting. So how far do you relate to which character?
you know, I'm not that extrovert. I'm an introvert. So yeah, the part of being extrovert, I cannot say that Anne's character related to me or something. But every character has his or her own story behind it. The character of Fayan is in some way inspired with people around us, who want, who give up that easily. People give up with their loved ones easily. They do not have that patience to stay with their loved ones, even though they need the person. There are some instances when a person do not tell you that he or she wants something, he or she wants your support. So you have to, you can say, guess from their gestures, from their emotions, from the way they talk normally, and from the way they talk when they are upset. So the character of Fayan is all around us. We do not understand that easily the emotions what other person goes through. As far as Tripti's characters is concerned, that was very hard to narrate, because as a boy, I cannot understand how a girl feels when he or she has some issues. Oh, sorry, she has some issues. So it was very difficult to me to really narrate the character of Tripti. So I used to I have many colleagues and friends. So I used to talk to them a lot, and bit by bit from every person I have collected information, how she feels about this, how she feels about this. So that's where the elements of characters came from. It's all fictional, but yeah, somewhat related to people around me.
So the issue that you talked about is very relevant right now, even in COVID situation. The
Yeah,
issue is increasing. So I want to thank you for bringing that into this perspective.
most
And
welcome.
uh,
Thank you.
and the also the another issue that you brought up was spirituality versus superstition. So how far are you spiritual or superstitious? What are the little secrets? Uh,
I am a bit superstitious as well, not at the extent to the character in the novel, but some way, superstitious. Being superstitious is, very hard to get away with. Like yeah, there are things. If my book falls down, I have to touch it from my forehead. So that you can say a bit of superstition in me. Uh, I am spiritual, yes. I always, I respect every religion. I respect every, uh, information that is mentioned in the religions. Even, you can take every good things from every religion. So not to be extreme religious, from my point of view, I am not. I am religious, but not to the point that I disrespect someone other's religion, or compare that my religion is above the other person, or other person's religion is not helpful. That doesn't help to grow you as a spiritual person. So being spiritual is not just following your religion, but also practicing something which you experience every day. There are instances, you have deja vu, that you might have seen this thing in the past. There are instances when you think about something, and the next moment it comes before you. You say, yeah, I had thought about it, and now it's here. So these are some signs that yes, being spiritual is helpful. Being uh, believing in something helps a lot. When you believe in something with all your heart and put efforts towards it, you will achieve it sooner or later.
the next question is, uh, there is many emotions that one goes through while reading the book. Like the starting is a little bit mysterious because I haven't read anything. I thought Monisha was his girlfriend for the first few pages, and that's
I
it.
wrote it
She
that
called.
way. I wrote it that way.
Yes, and then there is thrilling experience, also mysterious experience that her name is not revealed till the second chapter. and then a real bit realistic thing that yes, she rejects, and then he has to go back. Informative, romantic. So how did you bring it together in just like a book less than 200 pages?
It's less than 200 pages, Shweta, but it took around 5 years to write. It does it uh, it haven't come right along that I'm thinking, and it's it started to come on. It started back in 2015 when I wrote something. I started from I guess from a scene where Hitesh and Ayan are talking about something. They are having a chat with a drinks in a bar. That scene is not in the book, unfortunately, or fortunately. The editor has to cut it down because he felt that it doesn't help the plot. It makes the readers a bit bored. So I wrote that thing first, and after that, bit by bit, ideas started coming in. I went busy after 2015 for a span of few months. I went busy in my job, so I had to, I took pause, and after that, I started again, and it was, not a smooth journey writing this story and emotions. It took time to be compiled in 200 or so pages. So it's everything, takes time. You can relate it, every UPSC aspirant or everyone who prepares something that big, it takes time. But when you reach that point, it's the best feeling. You cannot explain. When I finished my manuscript last year in 2019, April 2019, I finished the manuscript. So it was a wonderful feeling.
Has the feeling settled down yet that you are an
Not yet, not
established
yet.
author right now? Not yet.
I'm still struggling, to settle down, being not established, but being an author and being a published author. But my publisher has supported me a lot, and they are doing a great job promoting and making this book available to every reader. So I'm lucky in that way, and it's wonderful feeling.
Was it what it is like to be an author? You are currently a
Uh,
part-time, but what it is like to be an author exactly?
uh, Okay, I may exaggerate a bit, but you have seen Taj Mahal, right? So when Taj Mahal was constructed, so it's now a monument of something that every couple or everyone who loves can mesmerize by seeing it and its history. So not that I am a Shahjahan or something, but I can say I am the architect who has constructed a Taj Mahal called Sunset by the River for me. That's the kind of feeling I'm having when the readers like you give so much great response. It feels that way.
Yes, it was like wonderful reading, so I could not resist reaching out to you. And thank you for agreeing to talk to me.
It's
And
pleasure, people like you, who have some, aim in mind. It's really great to interact with aspirants and readers. It's always a great pleasure for me.
so, as an UPSC aspirant, I have a selfish question. So, the first step is always the hardest for anything. So, what motivation did it come? Like, what was your motivation in beginning it and continuing it with consistency? Because it was for a longer duration of time, just like UPSC, almost 1 year takes for the examination. So, what kept you going and motivated, consistent?
It was very hard for me. I was not consistent, to be honest. As I said, I started in 2015. I took a pause because of my jobs and some stuff at home and all. I was not consistent being a writer. I tried to write a bit by bit whenever some ideas come to my mind. I used to write anything in my diary, which I used to carry everywhere, even when I was posted somewhere. 2 years back in a rural area. So I used to travel 50 kilometers from my home, and I used to carry my diary with me to work. So whenever something strike me, some idea, struck me, I used to write it down in this diary. And without, narrating something, I just write it down. Yes, this thing has happened, so just write it down. And then after that, after the whole day at work and interacting with people, when I used to go back to home, so that's when I used to narrate it properly in my laptop, type it down, and write it. Some days when I became a bit fluent in writing the ideas, I used to wake up whole nights. That's not healthy. I won't suggest you that. That's not healthy. But I used to wake up all nights because those ideas don't just let me sleep. I just had to write it down. Otherwise, they were keep boomeranging in my head. So, being a aspirant of UPSC and being a writer are two totally different things. I may not be that person to guide you, but I can just say that whatever you have in mind, when you keep working for it bit by bit, regularly, it doesn't happen that you write every day 2 hours every day. It doesn't happen with a writer. But being an aspirant, being a student, you have this you can say freedom to study every day for some time, because that's not something creative which you have to create. That's something you have to learn, and you can learn every day. You cannot create every day, but you can learn every day. So I'll just say, just be consistent and utilize maximum time whatever you have.
The book, the book is also very well researched. Like also
Yeah.
in Japan, you have put locations. Have you ever been to Japan?
I've not been to Japan yet. There's a story behind research work and behind the story of Japan. Uh, let's say for the research of the theme which is mentioned in the book, it's based on the incident which has happened to a person related to someone I know. So I met the person. I have seen how that person has struggled. I have seen what treatment, what medications, and whatever the process he or she has gone through. I've seen that, and I've talked to the professionals who were dealing with that issue. So that research is authentic, and that's why readers can relate, and giving me very honest and wonderful feedbacks on this part. And for the part of Japan, uh, after my engineering, I used to work in Gurgaon for a while. I worked there for around 6 months before starting my banking preparations. So there was this training session which used to happen in that organization, where they used to send their engineers for 2 to 3 months of training in Japan, Osaka. So I had a couple of colleagues, who went there in Osaka for training session, and that's how this element has come into the book, and the places and the events have come into the book. So as I said, every character and every scene has a story behind it, and it's somewhat related to me as a person and people around me.
So we can say that this is small stories woven into a big novel.
Yeah, you can see that. You can say that it's a collection of not short stories, but every scene and event has
Themes.
a story behind it.
Yes. There is also this robotic theme that is also
Yeah.
very interesting. So, as an engineer, what was the idea behind that?
The idea was I had to create this dramatic proposal scene. I haven't done it. I haven't done that with anyone. I had to, really thought about it. How can a boy, propose as a girl in a dramatic way possible? Because I didn't do that. So I thought about a lot, and somewhere I I started writing about some scene, and then I thought it has happened before. It has happened with the movies. It has happened in the books. It has happened with the pupil. A boy kneeling down, and or a boy, shouting in the mic in the stadium. These all things have happened. So I have to create something which people can relate, or which can be authentic, which can be practical, which can have the character can do with the resources he has. So that's how when he was an engineer, so he has to apply engineering in proposal. So that's how it came to my mind randomly, because I used to see the robots when I used to work in Gurgaon. Again, I'll say that I have seen such things, not this type of proposals, but the robots I have seen. So that's where the idea came from.
Any private or any like love life events that you put in your own in this book?
Not in this book, but surely I'm thinking to write something more, and that might have an element of something which I have experienced.
So when can we expect another book from you?
It's a very hard question to answer because I have ideas in mind, but I do not want to rush because when people have expectations from you and you do not fulfill them, you feel very bad. So I do not want to rush. I just want to take my time. Although there is some marketing strategy that a reader only, only remembers the author for 6 months, and after 6 months you have to come out with second book, otherwise readers will forget you. So she's laughing. She suggested me, you have to come out with another book in 6 months, otherwise readers will forget you. So okay, I'm working on something. I have something in my mind, and I will try to make it possible before the deadline which I have in mind.
Yes, please do. We are waiting for the sequel or anything.
Oh, thank you.
Aftermath will be the nice sequel of this book. So we can take questions now if any viewer has some
Sure, sure,
questions.
sure. So, how is your preparations going? And we can look
It is
for the
going good.
questions.
It's going good, sir.
Okay. So I guess people don't have any questions. I have explained a lot, I guess.
Yes.
Someone is asking, how are you? To I don't know whom. Samir, his name is also Samir. Hi, Samir. I'm fine.
I don't know. They are not asking any question. Yes, surely they explained a lot. You explained a lot. And
I was a teacher,
both.
no? I taught around two
Oh,
years before joining the bank. So I explain
how many
things.
professions are linked with you? So much multitasker, author, teacher, banker, engineer.
You know, I am an engineer by core, and there is a saying engineer can do anything except engineering. I've heard this quote a lot. So, in that way, you can say there is the engineer coming out from me. I worked for 6 months as an engineer in Gurgaon. After that, I taught for 2 years when I was preparing for my banking exams. And then I joined bank, and now I'm author.
What more can we expect from you
Hello,
as in
Aman
your
Kumar.
hobbies?
Uh, as a person, I love to uh, go to places. I currently I live in Himalayas in Uttarakhand. It's Ranikhet. It's a wonderful place in Himalayas. So I love being here. Luckily, I've got posted. So It's a wonderful place, and across my room from the balcony, I can see the peaks of Himalayas. So that's I can say a dream place for me right now. And as a as a traveler, you learn a lot from the places and people you meet, different people at different locations. So that's my hobby, to interact with a lot of people going to places. And apart from that, I love cricket. I love, you can say, being uh, as a social media enthusiast. I love to being active on social media.
So I have a question. I also want to write. Give me some directional tips. Samir is
Hi,
asking this question.
Samir. Okay, look, I'm not that expert, but as I was discussing yeah, some time back, that I started writing in 2015, and after that, I was working in the bank. So with working in a bank and writing is not easy. I had to balance it out. So whatever you write, you try to be consistent, although it's not easy to be consistent as a writer because ideas do not come that handy being a writer. So just try to write something, or think about, if not write, think about something daily. It may not hit you, every day, but uh, uh, at least 2 or 3 days a week you will be writing some ideas. And if these ideas from 2 to 3 days a week, you will continue for a year, that will that can shape your story to a very different level. So just be consistent, not daily, but yeah, be consistent at least twice or thrice a week.
Consistency is the key
Yes,
for
for
everything.
everything.
So
You're most welcome.
while I was reading this book, when Ayan like faces that sleep paralysis thing, and that was the moment I thought maybe this book is about demons and demonology, because I hadn't read any preface or anything. So did you intended to bring that perspective in the book, or is it what I took it out from the book?
Okay, I'll answer your question. Hi, Kirti, Samir. I am from Bareilly, Uttar Pradesh, currently living in Uttarakhand. So, Shweta, yeah, and the sleep paralysis thing. Uh, when I was writing this, I had to create this scene where the character of Ayan has to experience something so that he can be guided towards the place where he can find what he was looking for. You know, there has to have a practical scene. If I if I had created something which was purely based on a dream, it would not have been that practical. It has to have some practical aspects and somewhat related to the reality. So this dream thing, this scene has to be connected with something which people experience a lot. So I was, reading about things, and actually that has happened with me once or twice. This thing when I was sleeping, half asleep. I am awake. I am experiencing that. Yeah, I am awake, but I cannot stand up right now. Why? What is this happening? So it's kind of happened with me once or twice. So that's where it came from. I said, I learned about it, I read about it, and then I wrote about it.
That is great to address this issue. Like when I finished the book, I was also searching, watching YouTube videos. What exactly is these issues? Thank you for bringing it up front. And now we have question. Tell me, Sami. So, do you relate to the character Ayan?
Hi, Kirti. Look, I have also already answered that question before to Shweta when the live started. Ayan's character, in some ways related, not related to me, but related to people around me. It is the character which is very practical, which as a person, we give up with our loved ones very easily. We do not wait for their their answers. We do not wait for the issues which they are struggling with. So we give up we give up easily. We do not care a lot. Not a lot of people, but yeah. So that's how Ayan's character is. He's everywhere. He's around us. He's in me, or maybe sleep paralysis is very common when I was dealing with depression, anxiety 2 years back, growing with CSE sales. Okay, so I think if it's common, then it has to be diagnosed. You should consult someone. If it happens regularly, occasionally is not that problem, but if it happens regularly, we must consult professional for that.
Somebody's asking the genre of your book. So, how would you categorize? Like for me, it is very many genres are there: informative, romantic, thriller. But how do you see your book?
I haven't wrote it considering any genre. I had to write it out. I had to write it the emotions or the issue which were coming to my mind. It was not characterized in any genre while writing. And after completing, it's not completely romance. It's not completely thrill. It's not completely mystery or horror. It's a blend of everything.
That is the perfect title or label to put onto your book. Complete. Like everything is in that book. You'll find so many different issues. All the readers, please add it to your wish list, because this book is going to give you so many mixed emotions, and it will be going to a very roller coaster ride in your emotions, and you won't be able to put that book down. I wasn't able to put it down.
Thank you. Yeah, you can learn something from it. That's what my motto was. You'll be going to learn something which you might not have heard about. Okay, Sameer, TURK21, I'll wait for your review. The name of the book is Sunset by the River, and you will find it on Amazon and Flipkart. You can order it and read the sample chapters before starting it, I would suggest.
Thank you for answering. Now ordering the book straight away.
Thank you.
It is very interesting to talk to you and know more about this book. If anybody has any other question, we can address it and in the next 10 minutes, and then we'll call it in.
It was really great to interact with you as well.
Thank you, sir. In the whole book, I noticed something, that there was an overuse of the word albeit. So, anything related to that? Like,
Albeit,
was it
okay.
your...
Okay. I will ask the editor for it. He has done a wonderful job with improving this book. I I think we have worked on this book for around a month, and the suggestions which he gave me were very good, and it has improved the book a lot. And that were his suggestions that has uh, inculcated in this book. You can read the words and the scenes, and I'll ask to him. Next book kab aayegi? First read this one and give me feedback, and most probably I'll write something more soon.
The book plays like a movie in your like head while reading. It is very interesting. Oh, there are no questions. So I'll ask the next question since there is no question coming up. That scene when Ayan is in Jaipur and then he's waiting, like he's there sitting in the park. What is the exact scene? Because that was the only scene I found difficult to understand. Did he see a temple or that reminded him of his god, or like that scene was quite difficult to understand. I didn't understand it.
That scene was difficult to write for me too because uh, from there the story, it takes a leap from being real life story to somewhat you can say a spiritual journey. And to take that leap, I had to think about a scene where he has to, he has to something has to strike him, something has to guide him towards that place. So before first the dream, and after that he thinks about what spiritual stuff he has experienced in his past, what spirituality, what kind of divine energy he's connected with from his past. So he's thinking about this in the park, and then then he sees something. That's something I didn't, narrate it because it would have spoiled the part where he reaches to find what he was looking for. So that's why I kept it hidden. Yeah, it may uh, appear to be a bit mysterious, but it was all about to be mysterious, to be a bit of mystery.
Now I know it was intended. I didn't miss out anything in the book. I
Yeah,
thought
it was
I'm missing some
intended.
details.
Okay.
Your writing style is very good. Kriti is
Thank
praising
you,
you,
Kirti.
and she's also saying that Manisha, I thought she's the main character. We had the same
It was also
situation.
intended in the starting. It was also intended, keeping the character's introduction that way that you straight away get a glimpse that, yeah, these are the two couples, but they are not.
While reading, I was writing by my side the character names, and when wrote Manisha name, I just wrote girlfriend or like girlfriend I wrote, and then I had to cut it, and then Tripti's name was added. There is
When you
this
write, there
question
is,
by
yeah, there is always chance of improvement. So by when you feel like, yes, this is the end. That was the very first thing which I discussed with Shweta, right? That when I completed the story, I was not sure that if I had completed it or not. Uh, you have to have the confidence in your story when you write it. When when you complete it, you don't know you have completed or not. So keep adding to it a little bit more. And if you feel that it is helping the plot, or it will make the readers to stick to it, then add it. Otherwise, if you feel that, yeah, I have nothing to add more, I have you can say I have inculcated everything uh, in it, I have given away everything which I wanted to tell to the readers. That's how you know that, yes, you have completed your story. There is no end point. There is no criteria to end your story. It's let me tell you the same questions I asked from Savi ma'am. You know Savi ma'am? Uh,
yes, everyone has a story.
yeah. Back in 2019, when I completed this story, I just sent a DM to Savi ma'am, and she's very generous. She replied to it. I asked the same question that, ma'am, when do you know that I've completed a story? I've written the story, but I don't know if I've completed it or not. She said, there is no end point. You have to have the belief in your story, and that's how you know you have completed.
That is a great advice, and I loved her book too. Everyone has a story, and there is one more book. I don't remember the title for which
Everyone
one.
has a story has two parts.
Yes, I have read the first part. I never got to reading the second part. You are inspiring us
Thank you.
to share yours.
If I'm inspiring, I don't know if I've done anything to inspire, but thank you. I'll just give my experience to all of you.
Finishing a book is itself an inspiration. A lot of hard work goes into that. We all
Thank you.
praise you for that. And I guess we'll call it a day now. We'll end that on that note.
Okay.
And if you want to add something, you can.
Uh, okay, I'll just add to it. You are a UPSC aspirant. I've seen that you have a lot of followers who are also UPSC aspirant. I'll just wish you a very good luck. Just keep, uh, you know, keep sticking to your preparations and do not give up. And someday maybe, I'll call you sir or ma'am as as an officer. I'll meet you and it will be pleasure for me.
That was the line from the book. I answered to Tripti.
You got it.
So intended.
You have read it quite deeply, I would say. Thank you.
It was interesting. So on that note, we'll conclude it. And thank you for all the best wishes.
Thank
All the
you. It
best to
was
you, sir.
very, very good talk. Thank you. Bye bye. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.